How the heck are you, everybody? I'm Fastidious. Welcome to my channel. So today we are talking Immortal Codex once again. The other day I was streaming my initial attempts, the first time I ever tried hard mode, aka the actual Immortal Codex, and it was against the Conqueror. That is still live, as you can see. In just 2.5 days, we are going to get the next boss, that Golem boss. That's going to be with the healers and those Iona statues. I cannot wait. But for now, we've got the Conqueror, a very fun boss, and you can see here, I finally reached top 1%, and I hit my SS+. So if you don't know, it goes triple S is the absolute best you can do. Second best is going to be SS+. Oh my god, a lot of people are in triple S. So the top 78 on the server are in triple S, and then the rest of us in the next group, you can see we come in at SS+. I'm pretty proud of this. I'm going to show you the heroes. You see, I used a pretty unconventional team. I don't think you're going to see anyone else here using Brokkir. Maybe he caught your eye in the thumbnail. I would say him and Cerberus duoing are kind of the MVPs. And then, of course, Ardea is crazy. She helps me tremendously. However, this comp 100% will work. You could take out Ardea and put in Atrox. If you have better gear than me, you will get SS+, I believe. However, if you don't, you'll probably get SS or maybe S+. But you'll see my gear. Some of you will look at my gear. I'll break down all my builds. Some of you will look at my gear and think it's not very good. Some of you will look at my gear and think it is super good. So you can let me know in the comments where you fall. It kind of just speaks to where you are in the end game, or if you're not there yet, essentially. Because I just reached the end game, essentially. So my gear it's good. It's not amazing. Yeah, so let's get into it. I'll just show you the stats right now, and then we'll break down the run. We'll get into it's a fun battle. It's a really fun battle. You can see I'm only running 3 DPS. So Vladov is basically just there for the Lord. We'll break all that down. Brokkir is my tanky boy. Any tank would work here. I like Brokkir because his shields are so huge on his ult. And then he's also putting out some freeze, which slows down the amount of enemies coming to him, coming to Cerberus, I mean. Constance is really good. However, I have a super free-to-play alternative to that, so shout out to Atrox. You can actually use Ein instead and still get very similar results. I've tested it a few times. But yeah, that's the squad. Let's get into it.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
All right, guys, so I think today what we're going to do, we're going to head into the challenge. I'm actually going to break down. I'll try to do this on manual. There's a touch of RNG that goes into it, but I should get it within 1 or 2 or 3 attempts. But I think I'm going to break down everyone's builds first to explain what's going on here, and then we'll actually do the battle. I think it'd be a little more confusing if I just jumped into the battle and you don't know how people are built and what is going on. So let's start with our non-damage dealers. Vladov is here as a Lord. Vladov's Lord skill is super strong. You can see my Vladov is not promoted at all. He's only 5 stars. He doesn't do any damage. He doesn't even need to be on the field. He's just here for this Lord skill. Increases faction allies' basic attributes by 10%. That's really helpful because with this comp, my 2 main damage dealers are going to be Cerberus and Ardea. Both are dual faction kind of heroes. However, both of them have Chaos faction membership, so this is perfect. Increases faction allies' damage based on their HP loss up to 40% at 30% HP. So if they have 30% HP or less, they're going to get a 40% damage boost. So basically, after the damage is calculated, there'll be a 1.4x multiplier applied to it. Super strong. Ghan is better at this battle. When we get into Brokkir, I'll explain why. I mean, inherently he's better because, of course, he's a legendary lord, but most of us are not going to have Ghan. Some of us are going to have Vladov. This specific comp, like I said, you could take out Ardea and bring in Atrox. It's not going to work as well. Then if you had Atrox and Cerberus as those main damage dealers, you could run a Cultist Lord like Aeon or Morrigan. However, you're not going to get the same boost that you do get because you can't have the 100% uptime on the crowd control and stuff. You're not going to get the same boost that you do get from Vladov. I will do some more testing with Morrigan in the coming days, but no way you're going to get the same thing from your Epic Lords. You're not going to get the same boost out of Aeon that you do out of Vladov. The only thing to note with Vladov besides his Lord skill is I do have him in an Invig set, an Invigoration set. I actually have all 3 of my I have 3 damage dealers, 3 non-damage dealers. The 3 non-damage dealers all have Invig sets, so this way we can get an Invigoration buff, so a 10% attack buff, and we can control it perfectly so it lands on Cerberus, Ardea, and Valkyra, my actual 3 damage dealers. So that is Vladov, Constance. So like I said, I've got a super free-to-play alternative. Let's start with Constance, and then we'll get to that, but it's another Watcher faction member. You can see I am running her in an Invig set. This is the set I normally run on my Dolores. I do switch it between Dolores and Constance a lot. I've got another decent set. Well, it's better than decent. It's a good set for an inspiration hero. However, it's not Invig set. So if I'm just using one of them, which usually I'm only using Dolores or Constance. Occasionally I'll use both. But this is what I like to run. You see, we just go for super high attack here with flat attack subs. So attack bonus with flat attack subs. Some rage regen never hurt anybody. Here, a little attack speed. Doesn't help Dolores, but it does help Constance. You can see no flat attack here, but we did go for the rage regen. Here we go for a big attack bonus roll and then some flat attack. And then here, same thing, big attack bonus roll, and then we get the big flat attack from the Warlord weapon. So we get 10% more from this weapon than we would for a non-premium weapon. You know, normally it'd be 960. Because it's that gold and red premium set, we get an extra 96. That's how those things work. So pretty good build. You'll see we've got 14.5k attack. Not amazing, but it's solid. Attack speed is respectable, but not special. And rage regen 29%. It's not too fancy, but if we go all the way out here, if we go to the Pantheon, you will see I do get 31%. So that brings her to an even 57%. So that's pretty solid. Let's go all the way back in. Lots of clicking. That's my Constance, and she is in that inspo set, so she'll be able to buff one of our guys, and I'll explain when we get into the battle how I can control inspo set, invigoration set, so I can control how... I can control where the invigoration 10% attack buffs land. I guess I'll explain Constance's inspiration in case people don't know. So she's got a 45% inspiration. So basically it increases attack proportionally to this caster's attack. While this effect is active, other buffs affecting inspiration will not take effect. So you can't stack it, right, with Dolores, but you're going to give proportionally whatever it states. So 45% of her attack will be shared in her radius. She's got that same attack radius, the attack range as the Doloreses of the world, that interesting little diamond. So that will be Constance. Let's go next to our final non-damage dealer, and that is going to be Brokkir. He also is in an invigoration set. That's to give a 10% attack buff. That's the final one we need to make sure the 3 of Cerberus, Ardea, and Valkyra are all buffed. You don't need to do it this way, but it helps, so why not? You can see we're running HP bonus. I don't have the best kind of tanky gear in this. I haven't really had to run tanky gear for invigoration, but it's solid. You see I'm hunting HP bonus with defense bonus subs. The flat defense doesn't hurt. Here we got flat HP, which is also good. Defense bonus, not a great roll, but we'll take it. And you can see normally it'd be 60%. They're all 6% higher. There's an additional 6%. They're 10% higher because these are premium sets, the red and gold sets, the stuff you get from 19 plus. Here you go. We got HP bonus, flat HP, flat defense, and defense bonus. So kind of perfect subs. I guess for Brokkir, you wouldn't mind attack speed or rage regen here because rage regen would be nice. But I mean, it's pretty good. The rolls aren't great, but you know, it is what it is. Then again, we went premium set again. We went Immortal Warrior. Not the most amazing rolls here, just under purple for the 2 stats we care about. So we got the big flat HP on top. Then we got the defense bonus at 19.5, HP bonus at 19.5. Here, a bit better. This was perfect substats for what we're looking for, but I just rolled it and we didn't roll well on the flat HP, but you can see just into the purple on defense bonus, HP bonus, and flat defense. Oh, I realized I should be showing you the artifacts. So for Brokkir, we've got the Bastion Ring, formerly known as the Olog's Wall. For Constance, we have Keen Wisdom, formerly known as Ancestral Teachings. And I'm pretty sure for Vladov, he's not even wearing an artifact. We can double check that right now. No, he's not. It doesn't even matter. Honestly, it doesn't. So those are our non-damage dealers. Let's get into the good stuff. Let's start with Cerberus, since he is probably the main guy, since not everyone's going to have Ardea. You're not going to be able to get these numbers in the way I'm doing it without Cerberus. That's for sure. So I'm running him in a Soulbound Arcana set, which certainly for like proper endgame, you know, I'm only getting SS+, I'm not getting triple S. This would be best in slot. That being said, I'm only able to get his ult off 4 times. So actually, I think you could argue a Wisdom set would be better. Because by the time I get the 4th ult off, he dies almost immediately. And like you'll see, if we get bad RNG, sometimes I don't even make it to the 4th ult. I should, but we'll see. It was close. However, I went this way with Soulbound Arcana in the end. I tried Night Terror, I tried Wisdom. The reason is I was actually able to get better stats just because, again, these are those premium sets, the red and gold sets, 10% extra stats on the main stat. So instead of 60% attack bonus, it's 66. Instead of 66% crit damage, it's 72. Same thing here. That stuff adds up. But you can see the gear's not crazy. You know, this one, not really nice. These two are ancients, and there's like a nice amount of purple here, but you know, it's getting towards end game gear, but it's probably more solidly late game gear. Here, these pieces are solid. No crit damage on the breastplate. I wasn't able to get it going to get the stats I wanted. And then here, nice big attack roll, crit rate. It is what it is. You might be noticing some HP substats, and that was not by chance. So you see HP bonus, flat HP. We've got a HP bonus, flat HP, of course, on the main. We look here, any more hidden around? Nice HP bonus here. I found he dies too quickly if I completely ignore HP. You don't have to make HP your focus, but don't completely ignore it. And I found 20k additional to be that like sweet spot. So he's just over 50k now, all things considered. A little more from the Pantheon as well. Here is his stats: 17.9, basically 18k attack. Not crazy, especially given how high his base attack is. It's not the best build in the world. Attack speed doesn't matter for him. Crit capped and nice crit damage, 343.5%. If we go to artifact, you might have guessed it. It's going to be the Lunacy Visor. I had this at plus 22, so full promo plus 22. I sold off some pieces to bring it plus 25. That gave him a little more tankiness from the HP and some more attacks for some more damage. I think it made a difference. And hard to say. I was it's very expensive to bring it from plus 22 to plus 25. Even once it's already max promotion, but I did, bite the bullet and I went for that. That's my Cerberus build. It's not crazy, 70k BP, pretty realistic, solidly late game, not end game. You'll see people with 80, 85, 90k BP Cerberuses. We can hop into the leaderboard and see maybe someone's got 100k Cerberus. I'm certain someone has 100k Ardea. What a transition. I've got an 80k Ardea. It's not a crazy build. You definitely want her in Soulbound Arcana. That ult is popping off, especially once you got it leveled up. You see, I'm working on max leveling her. I'm almost there. But Ardea's amazing. Soulbound Arcana, she's in my second best Soulbound Arcana set, so it's not very good gear. I mean, look at these. Nice substats, but terrible rolls. We got to use it, though. This piece is quite good, so we went attack bonus here. I have two good amulets. One's on Cerberus, as you saw, then the attack bonus one's on her. This is pretty good. And then here you can see this piece is solid. It's not amazing, but it's solid. We'll take the crit damage. It is what it is. This is a good piece here. Amazing substats, basically perfect substats for a non-ancient piece. Not amazing rolls, but good rolls. We'll take it. And then here you can see I did get some attack speed, and I had to make sure I got it because her attack speed was looking low. Crit rate's good, attack bonus good. She's 0.5% under crit cap. I don't mind. Attack speed's lower than I would like. I would like this to be like plus 250, plus 300. It is what it is. She's going to get her damage out. She takes care of her lane so well. It's more about once Cerberus dies, the whole thing falls apart. So it wasn't the end of the world. It's not the best build in the world. 25k attack might seem like a lot, but that's just because Ardea is nuts, and she's got almost 8,000 base attack. This is Awaken level 0, obviously. 1.6 second interval. It's not amazing, but it's okay. Basically crit capped and nearly 300% crit damage. I went I went Realm Tear. It used to be formerly known as Void Gazer. I went that here. You could argue that this would be better. However, because Ardea has so many tiles, it is a wash, at least where I have my promotion. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So all the enemies will basically be 4 tiles away since she's killing all of them. So I get an extra 6% per tile, so it's 24%. You go now to my Valkyra. I'll show you her artifact right now. It's 8% every 4 seconds when you don't take damage 3 times. So again, it is 24%. I guess slightly this could be better than Ardea. However, because I don't have Awaken level 1 Valkyra, I only have Awaken 0 Valkyra. This way I can get 24% for both of them. If I was to put the Realm Tear on Valkyra, it would only be 3 tiles, so it'd be 18%, right? So that'd be a big loss. At that point, I'd be better off doing Eye of Sin for her and getting that extra 14% with the extra 7%. As I get these things further promoted, I'm looking forward to the next Mystery of Artifacts tournament to do some artifact material raid, and things will change a bit. I really like this content because I think I'm doing well in it, but there's a lot of room for me to improve. So that was Ardea. Let's get into Valkyra. I went with Infernal Roar. You guys let me know in the comments. I studied her ult. I do think during her ult, it's just boosts, and she keeps doing basic attacks. It's hard to read, but it says increases damage by 45% for 25 seconds. Pretty long ult there. Consumes any shield, doesn't really matter. Increases attack range by 1. So I guess during her ult, she could get the full benefit of that Realm Tear and get that 24%, but it is what it is. I will say, if I get her Awaken 1, for anyone that doesn't know, at Awaken 1, she gets an extra tile onto her basic attack range. So then her ult is even further. So 2 further than where her base attack is now. Super good. You'll see none of my guys are awakened, so that's hurting me. And that's why I'm going to probably sell this, or I'll tell you guys right now, this is what I'd call like a somewhat realistic team. Like, you still need to have all these heroes, and having Ardea helps. And that's why I'm naming alternatives, right? You can bring Atrox instead of Ardea. You can bring Ein instead of Constance, as we'll get into it for a second. But it's not like any of these guys are super high awakenings. Brokkir's awakened 1, but easily you could just bring Olog or Regulus or something instead of Brokkir. They would work at A0. Brokkir would work at A0. And everyone else is A0, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll get into that in a second. But you'll see the way this reads, it's a damage boost, some increased damage, blah, 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 increased range. There's nothing going on here, additional thing based on the shield you consume. She's not shielded, so it doesn't matter. So if you look at it, I think it's just basically boosts her basic attack. So I figured Infernal Roar would be nice, and I have this pretty nice Infernal Roar set. I did go attack speed on the amulet, but I'm under the presumption that these are counting as boost basic attacks, so I think that should help. This is what I normally run on my Zeala 2 on the right side. The left side I changed. It's not the best gear in the world, but it is what it is. You can see she's not crit capped, but I decided it didn't matter. So basically we got a 90% chance essentially to crit. And because of that, I was able to get this pretty juicy build. So we went big crit here and attack bonus, but then I do have this ancient piece that has attack speed on it and a big attack roll, big crit damage roll. No crit, but it works, so I'm happy with it. All in all, pretty solid build. You'll see she's got some good damage, and that is my Valkyra. So let's talk about the alternatives I described, and then let's get into the battle. Sorry to be teasing the battle for so long, but the battle's going to be, it's a good way to end the thing, right? Now, this way you have a full understanding heading into it. So if we look here, instead of Ardea, you could bring Atrox, used totally differently, but if you do have a max out Atrox, I just did max out my Atrox. He works really, really well. So basically, if we're taking advantage of here, can't be healed, blah, blah, upon each revival, his time increases, whatever, but his damage increases as well by 5%. That does add up. He also is a chaos unit, so he's going to get the buff from Vladov. Then if we go to his passive, activates Halo of Sacrifice after being deployed, reduces HP by 1% per second. That doesn't matter. He'll die like instantly if you do it right. He's going to deal 110% AoE damage per second to enemies on the ground. You can see I just max leveled him too. This doesn't matter. He's going to die right away. After death, generates a ground effect, dealing 110% AoE damage per second for 14 seconds. That does stack with Halo of Sacrifice, so it's really, really nice. And then his arena passive doesn't matter. You can actually just keep redeploying him. You can see this stacks up to 3 times with the increase in revival by 6 seconds, so you can end up getting an extra 18 seconds. However, the base of it is super, super low for anyone that didn't know. He starts off at a 15-second revival time. But even when you stack the 18 seconds, you're still only talking 33 seconds. You can kind of just keep dropping him, timing it out when there's a big group of mobs there. He'll die right away, especially later on in the battle. Pretty cool stuff. This is some random gear I had on him from a gear swap, so this is not how I would build him. You could, probably best to build him, since this is the passive counts as his ultimate. I think he'd be a really good candidate for a wisdom set. It just triggers right away as triggering his ultimate, and then that whole aura and combined with the passive, that will all get the benefit of the 35% boost that a wisdom set gives. I think that'd be pretty good. And then the pretty out of left field thing, so again, shout out to Atropos, because he gave me the tip on this. Instead of Constance, because he doesn't have her, you could easily bring Ein. So this wouldn't be buffing everyone, it would just be buffing Cerberus. Where are you, Ein? Oh my god, let me search for him. So Ein, he's free, you get him as your day 7 login reward. I've actually pulled 2 copies as well, so I've got 8-2. His awakenings do not matter. What matters is his ultimate. During the ultimate, the damage and allies in range gain damage increase. You're gonna want to get this at least to level 3. Honestly, I think to make it work well, you need level 5. That's kind of why I moved away from Ein and moved back to Constance. He did help a lot though. I did almost hit S+ with him instead of Constance. So he's going to give damage increase when you level it up. It's going to be a 20% damage increase, and this is going to last for 20 seconds. The skill cost wasn't lining up well with Cerberus at 1,000 costs. I even was running him in this Mana Spring set. But essentially what you could do, I think what would work well, if you got him this fully leveled up, so it was only 900 cost, you could put him in an inspo set as well, so he could be buffing Cerberus 2 tiles in front of him. You could put him behind the wall. You'll see where I'm putting Constance now. That 20% damage boost is super, super strong. And from the damage I was seeing, basically did the same thing as what Constance was giving Cerberus. The real difference was the timing. I can time Constance's ult comes up faster than Cerberus's, so that's fine. I can just wait for her. Ein's ult comes up slower. That 100 cost probably would make the difference, but I don't have any skill crystals. But if you're struggling and you want to use this comp, but you don't have Constance, you can use Ein. Again, if you don't have Ardea, you could use... Of course, you could use Atrox, the boy Atrox. So that is everybody. Let's head into the battle. Hopefully we get good RNG and we get this on our first try. I'll explain exactly what we're doing so we can skip this part. So the first thing we need to do is control where our invigoration buffs land. So I'm going to put Ardea here. Now I'm going to put Constance here. So Constance has that big range, but because now Ardea was the only person on the battlefield, we guarantee that that invigoration buff lands on her. Then we can play Cerberus. We want to get him out as soon as possible. So he can have that soulbound going. We want to get his ults up as many times so we can stack, every time he triggers his ult with the soulbound arcana, we're going to get a permanent 10% increase. Then we can put Brokkir here in front of him. He's going to help block the units. Again, shout out to Atrox who messaged me saying he uses Ghan. Once you see this in action, you'll understand why Ghan is way better. We can point him back at Cerberus to make sure Cerberus is in range. Now we've got the invigoration buff here. And then finally, we can put Valkyra here and we can put Vladov here. I'll just pick up Vladov because it doesn't matter. So you can see the buff is placed. Vladov's not going to do anything this battle. So the first phase, we don't have to use any ults except for Cerberus. We can just save the rest. Doesn't matter too much. The only reason I'm using Cerberus is not for damage, but just to start stacking uses of ultimate to get the benefit of the Soulbound Arcana. So that was one trigger, so that means now his damage is permanently increased 10%. Like I said, I'm not able to get this off 5 times for the max 50%. Should be able to get it off 4 times. So we just let this part go. Honestly, the little warm-up part of the battle, I don't really like. I think it's kind of silly, especially when you're grinding this over and over and you're trying to improve. It's like... it's a minute, 2 minutes of your life you're never going to get back. I guess it helps to time your ultimates and stuff, but I don't love it. So I'll tell you how this all works. So Cerberus's ult lasts for 15 seconds. Constance lasts for 20 seconds. Valkyra lasts for 25 seconds. We got an auto ult over here with Ardea, so personally I don't even bother trying to time out her ult. You'll see she takes care of this lane like it's nothing, so it really doesn't matter. So basically the way I found it works is those 5 seconds takes like 8% of ticks on Cerberus. So I do the first one for the 25 seconds for Valkyra. I trigger when Cerberus is at about 83 or 84 seconds, right? So that's 5 seconds up to 92 seconds. Then we trigger Constance, who lasts 20 seconds. So that's when Cerberus is at 92%. So then we have the next 8%, and then right about when Constance has 15 seconds left on her ult, that's when Cerberus has 100%, and we can trigger his ult. So it all lines up perfectly. I hope that makes sense. All right, guys, so this is what I'm describing. You can see Cerberus is ticking up towards 100% when he's able to actually trigger his ultimate. When he gets to 84% or so, that is when I will trigger Valkyra. So you'll see here, I'm going to throw it on 1x. There you go, Valkyra at 84%. Now we're going to get Constance at about 92%. Let's wait for that. Now you're going to see right when Cerberus hits 100%, I will trigger him. And then I'll let these all run so we can all see it. This will allow perfect overlap between the 20-second ult of Constance, making sure it overlaps during all of Valkyra's, that is 25 seconds, and all of Cerberus's, that is 15 seconds. There you can see, basically, they're all finishing at about the same time. I could have been off by half a second. That is basically what I'm looking at, going for those 8% intervals. Those percentages kind of seem to represent 5 seconds in real time. It's a nice way to track it with your ults. This is how we can guarantee that Valkyra and Cerberus are both getting full 100% uptime on Constance. It will probably make more sense when you see me do it. So now we wait. So now you'll be able to see. So Cerberus is basically at 84%. So we trigger Valkyra. Now when he's at 92%, we're going to trigger Constance. And now you'll see it should line up, right? She's 20 seconds. Cerberus is 15 seconds. So she should have 5 seconds left when she's at 75. 5 seconds should have elapsed when she's at 75%, right? 25% of 20 seconds is 5 seconds. And look at that. It lines up perfectly. This took some testing, but I figured it out. There we go. Now, though, basically, if you watch these orange bars, they should all finish at about the same time. It lines up really nicely. You can trigger Brokkir. It doesn't really matter. He's not going to die. Look at that. They all finished perfect unison. Now you'll see Valkyra and Constance load up a bit faster than Cerberus, so that's why I'm just going to be waiting. And that 84% on Cerberus, that's when I trigger Valkyra. At the 92, that's where I trigger Constance, and then I trigger Cerberus right away. Basically it for now. You can always trigger Brokkir. We don't have to, but it doesn't matter. It helps him get out some more freezes, so I guess it kind of matters. So you can see I could already trigger Valkyra, but then it wouldn't line up with Constance and with Cerberus, so we're going to wait. We'll 1x this when we get closer. The beginning part's easy anyway. Wait, all right, now we're almost at the 80s. You'll see when we get to about 84% on Cerberus, I'm going to trigger Valkyra. Now we get about 92. I'm going to trigger Constance. Perfect. Now we can just play slightly early. You can see, about perfect. So we're already in the B+ range. This is the easy part of the battle. So the RNG I was discussing is Cerberus places with his basic attack periodically. He's going to be placing those Water of Decay auras on the enemy with the highest HP. But because damage is coming from all sides, it's not guaranteed exactly which of the many enemies coming is going to have the highest HP at that moment. So where he chooses to put that aura kind of decides how much damage he's putting out to protect himself and heal himself. So that's the RNG if that wasn't clear. Probably wasn't, so I'm glad I explained it. All right, let's go. We're going to have to do some waiting again. So that was 3 triggers so far. We're definitely going to get our 4th trigger. Maybe I actually counted wrong, and maybe one time we did get the 5th trigger. Let's see. Pausing just to I'm trying to remain vigilant on Cerberus's health. You see, it's super high right now, so it's looking really good. This should be a good run. Hopefully we get SS+. Wait. All right, let's 1x this. Valkyra is really good for this fight. It really is. Yeah, so Cerberus is alive. This is going to be good. Trigger slightly late there, but it should be okay. So we can wait. Now we go. Could have triggered him already, actually. I probably should have. So we're in S+, and Cerberus is alive. That's a great sign. Hopefully we can trigger Brokkir and maybe get a couple freezes from A1 Brokkir. And then now we're in SS. Cerberus is going to die any second. But yeah, we're going to get it. Yeah, there's SS+. Let's see if we beat our old high score. Now if Vladov, we can just throw him to the wolves. Why not? No pun intended. Right, so now it falls apart. You'll see we almost got 14 million last time. Can we finally get 14 million? We did get 14 million. Okay, so this is my best run. Look at that. Big boy numbers. We're playing with the Krakens now, baby. There we go. 14.2 or 1.42, I should say. Pretty good. I said 14 million. It's not 14 million, right? Yeah, it's 1.4 million is what I was trying to say. Yes. But there you go. Pretty good stuff. Only 3 damage dealers. Let's look at the stats. So yeah, Ardea, absolute god. But you can see big boy numbers out of Cerberus. You could totally sub in Atrox or sub in Abomination, something like that. For Ardea, those are 2 pretty free-to-play options. You could sub in Ein for Constance. This specific comp, you need a Lord of Chaos, a Chaos Lord, Lord of Chaos. You need a Chaotic Lord, so Vladov is the free-to-play option. I don't have Ghan, but I mean, some people won't have Vladov as well. You could try it with Aeon or Morgan. I'll do some Morgan testing if you guys want to see that. Brokkir could easily be taken out for any other good tank. I do like Brokkir with his freezes when he gets hit as what during his ult, and then also with his A1 when his ult explodes, he puts out some more freezes, so that does help. It's a good comp. It's a good comp. And there you can see, it's kind of like a reasonable comp. I'm not going to call it a free-to-play comp. It isn't, because you have to get lucky getting a lot of these heroes, especially Ardea. But it's really reasonable, and I think those alternatives should help you guys out in a big way. And yeah, you can see some big boy damage out of these guys. So definitely, I think I can get Triple S the next time this comes around if they don't change anything, because they'll just farm better gear. You can see my gear isn't so special. But there you have it. I guess let me quickly talk about Ghan and why Ghan is so cracked out for this comp. So right now, we have Brokkir and we have Vladov. They're each doing 1 role. Ghan can easily do both those roles as like a 2-for-1. So then he would save 1 spot on your roster. So you can only bring 6 heroes into this fight. So we're spending 1 of our spots on a tank, 1 of our spots on a Chaotic Lord. If you're running this strategy I'm running, you could combine that Chaotic Lord and that tank into 1 person, and that would be Ghan. Ghan has super high base stats. He tanks really well, just as well as Brokkir would, and he'll even put out some damage. Do the same thing, pointing him back at Cerberus. And on top of that, he is a Chaotic Lord, and he's even better, right? So he's the exact same thing. Up to 60%, you're going to get the increase instead of 40% at 30% HP. So if you're wondering, like I was, why is everyone doing, I mean, I get that their Cerberus is better, but why are they doing so much better than me? That's why, right? We're getting a 40% damage increase, so a 1.4x multiplier to our damage with Vladov. With Ghan, you're getting a 1.6. That's a lot more, right? You're getting 33% more bonus damage. With the 20% addition. I hope that makes sense. Additionally, you're going to get additional attack and defense when they're below 30%. So his Lord skill is just way stronger. and he's fulfilling the role of Brokkir. So then that saves you a spot. Now you can bring in Abomination. You can bring, if I had gone, I'd bring an Atrox or Abomination probably. I think Atrox would be even better. So you can see, I probably would get Triple S, I think, if I had gone. That's a big, big, big if. But if I had gone, then we could take out Brokkir, take out Vladov, bring in Ghan. Everyone would have a use now on the team. Then I could bring in Atrox. That would get me the damage difference that I need, while Ghan is boosting Ardea and Atrox and Cerberus. So, went a little long here, guys, but I know people like when I am thorough. So I really hope you guys appreciate this. Let me know if you do with a like. Let me know if this helps in the comments, if my free-to-play or accessible alternatives were helpful. Subscribe, share it with your mother. I've been Fastidious. I'll see you in the next one.
Fastidious.